Well, last few things I needed. Let's get started. Well, what's going on, LFATV? This is your boy Luis. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate you. As you guys can see, I was waiting on a few things to come in so I could officially start on my wiring. Not gonna be a lot of talking. I want to get straight into it because there's a lot to come. So basically what I'm gonna start off with today is making a relay board. Yeah guys, so we're gonna be making a relay board to start off with to get things properly going under the engine bay, and after that we're gonna begin wiring. So I don't know if I'm gonna get to any wiring in this video, but stay tuned. Let's get it. Okay, so really quick, I'm gonna just talk about what I got going on right here. This is basically a little plastic PCV board that I kind of got on Amazon or eBay, whatever. As always, I'm gonna try to link everything down below. I got my relays here. So these are the relays that are gonna control the 12-volt switch that's gonna power on anything that needs to be powered on under the hood. We got a little box here that's gonna control, that's gonna basically illustrate anything that I'm running, you know, for example, injectors, what's it called, coil packs, and anything else that I need to run off of here, and just label it so it just makes things a lot clearer. Got the little stickers for that here. We got a breaker here, and now this is not like a house breaker. This is actually an automotive breaker. So the 12 volt, so the live wire that I'm gonna have coming either from the battery or the alternator location, we'll talk about that later. It's gonna be passed through this. So instead of having like an actual fuse, this is like an automotive breaker where if something were to go wrong, it actually cuts power to anything that's being powered by this or is going through this. And whenever you figure out the situation, the problem, you just switch it back and you got power once again. So yeah, once again, this is all from the guys video. And then as you guys can see, I have a little junction box here. So any negative or any positive, mostly negative, I'm gonna use this mostly for any ground that I need to use. It's gonna be used for this. So I'm gonna be running it to here. So any grounds that need to be run to injectors, coil packs, anything like that is gonna be run through here. I know sometimes I get confused when I'm speaking because I'm thinking of what I'm trying to say, and sometimes it might not sound correct, but yeah, you guys get the idea. Yeah, it's just little fuses that came with this. You know, any male, female connectors or any connections that I'm gonna need right here. Got some washers. Got my label maker, so when I start labeling all the wires. Yep, got some clear heat shrink. I got regular heat shrink, so there's a bunch of stuff that I got over there too. And these are just the posts that I'm gonna be using for the 12-volt switch wires that are gonna go to the relays. So basically, all this stuff I'm gonna try to make as neat as possible. You know, not in this specific order, but you guys get the idea. So the way this works is you got your live wire coming from either your battery or your alternator, depending on where you're gonna mount your wire. So, you know, you got a thick wire here, and then in between that is where I am going to be putting the breaker. So then wire here, wire to that. If anything ever happens, the breaker will go off and I could just fix it, reset it, and we're good to go. The power goes out to the relay, so the relay is pretty much storing the power. All the switched, let me move these out the way. So all the switched signals are going to be coming in through these. So this is just the way I have them set up with my relay. So the switch is going to be coming in to the first four, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to cause the relay to trigger, and it's going to go out to the next four, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So the signal coming out, so for example, let's just say we have an injector here. The signal from the ECU to power it on is going to be coming in through here. It's going to be power on is going to be stored in the relay, and then it's going to come out to switch number 1. So it's going to cause it to turn on and come out to the injector. So really quick, this was my relay pinouts reference, but this is just like any 4-pin or 5-pin relay. You could Google it, all that information is out there. But we got the board going, so now we could start doing, you know, some of the let's just say we could start with the injectors. So start running wires to the injectors, and then after that move on to the coils, and then every other component. Alright guys, so now we're gonna get into a bit more technical stuff. Now I am only gonna be doing 1 or 2 things at a time and recording them, because if I record multiple wirings at once, these videos would be super long, and I know it could probably get boring. So today I'm gonna be doing my coils. So I got the pin out for the coils that I'm gonna be using. These are ZZ coils, common Toyota, late 90s Toyota coils. As you guys can see, I picked these up at the junkyard. They are Denso, so they're very good. A lot of feedback on these. They do work awesome. So this is the pin out for these specific coils. You got pin 1 ground, 2 trigger, which the trigger is gonna go to the ECU, and then pin 3 is not used. You guys could look that up, but pin 4 is the power, or the 12-volt supply that's going to be powering on the coils. So there you go. But I think for the trigger, for the coils, I'm going to be using green as the trigger wire. Okay, so on the black plug, I will need to be getting the trigger signal from pin 8, pin 16, and on the gray signal, I'm going to be getting the trigger signal for injector or coil 6 from pin 1, 9, 8, and 16. Alright, so obviously there's different on both connectors, but I just need to make sure that I label which coil I am getting from which plug, and basically just label them. It sounds like nonsense. I'm sure I'm probably not making any sense right now, but you guys will see right now once I start doing it. And you guys could see that's the OEM hole where the OEM harness comes out. So that's the hole that I'm gonna be using. Other people make a separate hole, I don't know, somewhere on the firewall, but in my case I'm gonna be using the OEM hole. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna cut 6 wires to length to, you know, coil 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. I have number 1 out. So once I have them all cut to length, and I'm gonna give myself some room in case I need to move things around. You don't want to end up just, you know, cutting them perfectly to length, and next thing you know, you move things around and they don't fit. So yeah, let's do that right now. Another thing, just to keep track of things, remember I bought this label maker. So just to keep track of the wires for now, I'm gonna double label these things, you know, once I cover them up with loom. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna put ignition 1 and just type, you know, print. Alright, so now I have ignition 1, and for me to keep track of things, I'm gonna label this on the first wire. So when I go connect everything, you know, I'm connecting everything correctly and not in the wrong pins, because that's the last thing you want. So let's do that to all 6 and get back to it. Alright, so as you guys can see, I have all 6 of them here. They're all labeled, and I give them all like a decent amount of length or play if I need to move things around. So sorry about the noise, but as you guys can see right here, I have them all kind of, you know, laid out a little bit of how I'm gonna run it. So now I'm gonna begin to wire them up to the plugs on the ECU. On the black connector, I have ignition coil 5 and ignition coil 4 that I'm gonna be wiring. Those are the only 2 on the black connector. Now the ECU should come with all the pins, all the required pins that you're gonna need in order to wire everything up. It's kind of simple. The only way you put it in through, you make sure you have it oriented the right way, and it's honestly just pushed in through the hole. Just pushed in through the hole like this, and then you're gonna hear it lock in place, and like that, it's not coming out anymore. So you have it right there, good to go. So that's pin number 8. Always make sure, you know, I gotta make sure that I'm putting in the right place. So we gotta correct pin number 8. Shh. Alright, there you guys have it. As far as like the coils, they're all good to go on the ECU side. Everything's pretty much plugged up and good to go. Now remember, one thing that I came across, and you know, if you guys buy this ECU, you guys will get these connectors here in order to connect it to the ECU. Just remember that you know, I think you have 32 of these small ones, and then I think 16 of these big ones. Now I made the mistake and not paid attention that on the connectors, if you guys see, it's hard to focus, but the outside pins are the ones that require the big connectors, and all the little ones in the middle require the small ones. And I made the mistake to put a small one on one of the big connectors, which happened to be one of the coils, so I had to remove that. So that's something to note, just for you guys to remember. You know, just keep an eye. Now, as far as for the ECU, those are the only wires. These are the only wires that are going to be coming out, referring to the coils. Now, we're just talking about the coils. And as far as them being powered on, that's when this relay board comes into play. The switch that I am going to be getting is going to be either coming from my ignition switch or anything else that kind of powers on when you turn on the ignition. So when you turn on the ignition, that's going to send out a signal to one of these posts right here, and then it's going to tell the relay to switch the power on for the coils or for the injectors or for anything else. So I'm hoping that that kind of makes sense, because it was kind of difficult for me to understand the beginning of how it works. But as I go along, you guys will see how things kind of work. So for example, the only one that came in from the ECU is the one that's triggering it to basically fire. The first one is a ground, so all the grounds for the coils are going to go to one ring connector on the block somewhere. And then the other one is obviously the 12 volt, 12 volt supply. So that one's going to be coming, all of them are going to be connected to one relay that's going to be triggered on by the ignition. So yeah, those are the three that are going to be connected. So ground, switch, and 12 volt supply. So those are the only three. So for the time being, I am not going to wire them up to the coil. So I just have them taped onto the wire that they go to, and I do have them labeled just in case they come off or anything like that, because I also still got to run wires to the injectors, wires to the CPS and TPS, and then wideband, all kinds of wires like that. So I did buy the proper looms, the mesh looms that I am going to be covering everything up. My perspective is that I need to run every wire out first to anything that I'm going to be wiring. That way, instead of just covering individual components with the loom, I could wait till everything is done and I could cover everything with the big loom. And after that, use the small loom. I forget the exact dimensions, but use the small loom to come out to the individual coils or individual injectors. I'm hoping that makes sense. But yeah, that's why I am not going to be wiring these right now, because if I wire them right now, I am not going to be able to obviously put the loom over them. Yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I am actually super motivated right now to get this thing going. So I am going to be working on it throughout the week to get everything wired up. So a lot of videos to come. I think I have everything now, so there's no need to be waiting for parts to come in. So I just need to get to it. Really quick, also a huge shout out to anybody that I have personally reached out to for information, for help, for knowledge. And if you guys are watching, it's a huge thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. It's glad to see that people are kind of humble out there and are willing to help someone in need and stuff like that. And as you guys may know, when you guys reach out to me, I try to help the best way that I can. I am not an expert by all means, but I am learning in the process. So all of this that you see me doing, this is my first time doing it ever. So at first it can kind of be nerve-wracking, but if I can do it, you guys can do it. So enough talking, guys. That's it for this video. Stay tuned because there are more videos to come. All right, guys. Any questions, any comments, any suggestions, put them down below, man. I read all of them. Trust me. I read all you guys' comments. So I appreciate the love, guys. LFATV, over and out. On to the next one. Peace.